Welcome to Retirement Ramblings. I'm Scott, and today is day 340 in my countdown to retirement, plus a carryover from yesterday, which was day 341. So today I pulled the trigger. I booked a cruise on the Norwegian Prima. I locked in the room on deck 13. It's a family balcony. Total cost of the cruise, excluding gratuities, $9,051.72. I put down the $250 deposit on the booking today, and I have to pay the balance by April 5th. Once I pay the balance on April 5th, that actually starts the clock on the penalty phase of cancellation. So if I cancel at any time between now and April 5th, the most I will lose is that $250 deposit. If I cancel after April 5th, then depending on what day in the countdown clock at that point, will depend whether I lose 25%, 50%, 75%, or all of my money. So, which is one of the reasons why I've been researching trip insurance for both trip cancellation and trip interruption. I also booked today my non-refundable British Airways flights from Atlanta to Heathrow in the UK, and then from Reykjavik, Iceland, back through Heathrow, back to Atlanta at the end of the trip. I also booked a room actually at Heathrow, so I could basically, we're going to take the red eye over, so that I leave, let's say, somewhere around 10:30 or whatever at night, get in like 11:40 the next morning, and then be able to check into one of the a Hilton actually at Heathrow on the terminal. So it's right on the terminal I'm coming into, and in fact, your rooms can look out over the runways, whatever. But fundamentally, I wanted to be able to just chill out for the day in advance, and then catch a transfer the next morning to take me down to Southampton to actually get on the cruise ship. And I won't, until I start filling out all the details on the cruise ticket, I won't know what my boarding time will be leading up to the 5 p.m. departure, and I'll back in let's call it 2.5 hours of time that you need to get from London's Heathrow down to the ship from that time. So, we can take our time getting up in the morning and preparing to head to the ship. Then I also completed the UK electronic travel authorization, ETA, that's now required after January 8th of 2025 if you're going to the UK or even if you're just passing through the UK. So they're effectively, collecting a £10 tax, and with the conversion for US dollars, it's $12.73 per person. That's going to be going through the UK, and it's good for 2 years. So, I downloaded their app to my phone and to my wife's phone and went through the process. Could take up to 3 days to get approved, and in reality, it happened in like 30 minutes. So it was a pretty easy process, for them to collect my $25, and now we're good for 2 years, using Heathrow or going anywhere through the UK. I also completed registering with the U.S. Department of State for their Smart Traveler Enrollment Program, which they call STEP, so that you can get notified in real time, to your cell phone of any kind of, terrorist activities or various threats based on where you're going. And then they'll also know where you are in the event there has to be any kind of evacuations or, notifications. They also have information on, who to contact in your family as your backup if they can't get a hold of you, to, inform them of different pieces of information. But I basically went through and updated every single day that we were in a different location, gave them that information, and between now and when the trip is over, I will get any updates that are applicable to those locations sent to my phone, so that I can keep abreast of any kind of changing activities associated with the security in those particular areas. Um, then I continued to research travel policies, and I thought that I had finally got to the ultimate decision, which was going to be Trawick International's Safe Travel Protect plan. But then, as I was going through the document, I got to the fine print area about pre-existing conditions, and they don't have an exclusion for pre-existing conditions. So anything that you had happen to you, including just changing the dosage of some prescription that you're taking, which they uh, feel like indicates that you've had, um, you know, uh, a worsening in your health condition in the last 180 days, they consider a pre-existing condition, and anything attributable to that condition will not be covered for either trip cancellation or trip interruption. So, you know, if you're, I don't know, you have high blood pressure, you have high cholesterol, you have diabetes, you have anything, and your prescription's changed, that automatically becomes a loophole for them to not pay you. So that wasn't going to work for me. My wife had several things happen, and she's actually going in for her surgical review this week on some eye surgery that she had. So like, I'm not I'm not signing up for something where you know there isn't a way to exclude pre-existing conditions after a certain period of time. So my secondary choice within that was IMG's Travel Insured Travel Essential Plan, where so long as at the time when you pay them, you don't have any condition that's happening and nothing new comes up for 60 days that would stop you in the first 60 days of the plan of not going on the trip, then the pre-existing conditions are waived. So starting at the 61st day, which in my case is before I even have to make the final payment, um, for the cruise, then once you get into the penalty phase that I'm worried about, the pre-existing condition clause would already be excluded, and then that would be fine. So I'm currently thinking, and I'm still reading the fine print and all of these different ones, but I'm currently thinking I'm going to pick the IMG Travel Insured Essential Plan, which will cost me $483.56 to protect $12,000 in prepaid expenses and $15,000 in trip interruption. I'm going to couple that with Geo Blue's Trekker Choice Plan, which is an annual plan that will give me $1 million worth of medical coverage for my wife and me for $483 for 1 year. And I'm also going to add the MedJet medical transfer plan. I still haven't decided if I'm going to add the security component to that, but the MedJet transfer plan is $425 for 1 year and would cover both my wife and I should we need to be, airlifted somewhere, because of an illness, as long as we're 150 miles from home. And if we were to step it up to the medical transfer security and crisis response offering, that would increase the price from $425 to $614. So net net, the total cost to protect myself is going to be $1391.56 up to $1580.56, depending on which MedJet plan I take. So we also decided to pass on staying additional days in Reykjavik, Iceland at the end, and we're just going to get a transfer from the ship to the airport. I talked to NCL and they said you need to have 5.5 hours of time after the debarkation starts. So that's basically anytime after 9:30 in the morning Iceland time, you can book your flights. So I basically booked a 10:30 flight, and hopefully that'll work out. It's going to cost about $150 to get the transfer from the cruise port to Reykjavik Airport in Keflavik, and from Heathrow down to Southampton, it'll be just shy of $200 for that transfer. And so that's kind of where we are up till now. I still have to calculate and finalize my selection of excursions as well as what I'm going to do about airport parking. But it has taken all of yesterday and most of today trying to just still get through um, paying for the flights as well as still continuing to research the travel. I mean, I have never had such a problem as I did booking the British Airways tickets. And it wasn't British Airways per se, but their system apparently doesn't like Google Chrome. So I was trying to fill things out and it wasn't operating properly. So it kept some information, didn't keep other information. I had to move over to Microsoft Edge, which I don't use, but in this case, that's what I had to go do to be able to book the tickets. And then because of the browser hiccup with Chrome, it didn't get my birthday to be right and whatever, which is critical to match to your passport and everything else. So then I had to call British Airways, wait on hold for like 15 or 20 minutes. Finally got to the person. They pointed me to a place where there's an online submission of documentation. I had to then scan in my driver's license, write them a note telling them the browser wouldn't work properly. It therefore didn't put my right birthday in. Here's the real birthday. I had to upload the documentation, send it to them, and they say it'll take 2 days roughly for them to correct the issue so that my birthday will match what it really is within their system. And then I can finish completing all of the other aspects of the pre-travel requirements for the flights. Um, but otherwise, it's been, like I said, the last 2 days have been incredibly frustrating trying to get through. And I know, I'm probably one of those anal people that I care about what the actual language is in the contracts that I'm signing up for so that I don't go buy something and then find out when I actually need it that it doesn't cover the thing that I thought that it covered because of the sound bites that they give you in these little blurbs of, oh yeah, you have $15,000 of coverage for trip cancellation. You have this. And, until you get into the weeds and say, what are they excluding and what aren't they excluding? And, as an example, I'll just use something like I found incredibly interesting in several of the policies. If you happen to be younger, like still childbearing age, and you were pregnant, and your doctor put you on bed rest, that's not a legitimate reason, according to their exclusions, for you missing the trip. So you still wouldn't get covered for trip cancellation if your doctor had prescribed in writing that bed rest was required for you under a pregnancy. And then there's preeclampsia. There's all kinds of other things that wouldn't alleviate you from being able to collect on your policy. So anyway, I'm trying to make sure that if I'm spending the money, it at least protects the things that I most care about, and we'll go from there. But anyway, love to get feedback from you guys on your previous experiences. Again, if you've used IMG in the past, please let me know, especially if you didn't have a good experience with them, because pretty much no matter who I seem to look at, when I go through the reviews, there's at least 10% of the people that sign up that claim that their service is crappy. And it doesn't matter which insurance company I'm looking at. There's at least 10% of 1-star ratings for every single insurance company. So it's going to be a toss up, and hopefully you get the 90% that are good, and you're not one of the 10%. In any event, that's my update for today. If you care to leave me any comments, please do so in the comment section down below, or drop me an email at myretirementramblings@gmail.com. Otherwise, I look forward to talking with you tomorrow. Take care. Have a great evening.